Well, thunder, lightning, even maybe some tornadoes south, especially Iowa, but maybe even far southeastern Minnesota. We'll talk about that here in a second, but this is some lightning video from my brother, Cottage Grove, picked up from the security camera. A lot of lightning and thunder. And quite a bit of hail reports, too, for portions of southern Minnesota. Most of it was pretty small, pea to marble size, but in Northfield in the afternoon, it covered the ground and the streets actually to bring out the snow plows to remove some of that hail. So there was some of that, and largest hail was mainly the southernmost counties of Minnesota into Iowa, where some places picked up more. But the big story that's developing is out of Tiope, Minnesota, far southeastern Minnesota, possible tornado. Weather Service crews will go down and survey that damage. And it does appear as though all indications are based on rotation on radar and some of the damage. This is all some imagery from the La Crosse National Weather Service office based on areas that potentially saw some updraft or updraft tracks. So that story will be developing. So go to bringmethenews.com. That story will change through the day as we get more information. But this is the track of those storm reports from that storm. Confirmed tornado, Gilmore City, Iowa, around 6 p.m. and then possibly around 11 p.m. is when it hit Minnesota. So this is looking at the velocity scan from the radar, so we can see rain or hail moving in two different directions. Red is one direction, red and green is one direction, and blue another. And when we have precipitation moving in two different directions, that shows us that there is rotation. So those storms started late afternoon, really blossoming up a line of storms, producing high winds, and then ahead of it was where we saw those initial supercells. So that was a supercell that developed in Iowa. This is the storm that produced that tornado around Gilmore and then continued late in the evening, again, just before 11 p.m., crossing into Minnesota and producing both straight line winds, but also possible tornado. So again, we'll find out probably later today what exactly happened there. But the green, those are a lot of hail reports, mostly non-severe hail in the Twin Cities. Pretty much that was pea size. There was 1 inch minimum severe hail report. Mostly we saw a lot of lightning and thunder, but a lot of the severe weather, wind damage and tornadoes was across Iowa. Of course, we picked up quite a bit of rainfall too, 0.69 of an inch officially at the airport, but generally a ½ inch to an inch, pretty much metro wide. Sticks out like a sore thumb though, North Branch, over 2 inches of rain, but that was part of a heavier band. When we look at the radar estimates, which I'll show you in a second here, you can actually see that there was a heavier band of some rainfall amounts to the north. And this is some dust you can see. So maybe not quite to Minnesota, but I bet in Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, some of the rain, they're probably wondering why it's dirty. Dust in the dry line being picked up from West Texas and New Mexico, picked up by some of those storms. But again, this is the radar estimate. You can see in that pinkish purple, those are those 2 inch bands of rainfall amounts, and then also to the south. And then in between the Twin Cities, we saw generally under an inch of rainfall. But it was snow on the northern side of the system. Same storm, classic spring storm, 14 inches of snow east of Grand Forks so far. In ironically Key West, Minnesota, 10 inches in Thief River Falls, and they could see more snow yet over the next couple of days. We largely get a break across much of the state today as the low passes east. This is the dry slot. The yellow is showing dry air in the middle levels of the atmosphere. So today, mainly dry, a sprinkle or a snow shower here or there, but most of it's going to be in northern Minnesota. But watch this area of snow showers. It's going to spin through later tonight into tomorrow. So we're going to see scattered snow showers Thursday, pretty much across central and northern Minnesota, even in the Twin Cities, but they'll be brief enough where I don't think we'll see much in the way of accumulation. So this is looking at the lower end of additional snowfall, several more inches in northwestern Minnesota and also up into the Arrowhead. And this is the lower end because this takes into account compaction and melting. But when we look at the higher end totals that looks at less of that because if it's cold enough, it could add up more. Then we get into maybe 6 to 8 inches more in the northwest cornermost part of the state, and then also basically up into the boundary waters. But again, the central and southern Minnesota, maybe a slushy coating here or there is going to be it. But the winds are really going to haul tomorrow. They'll be windy today, still 10 to 20, gusts to 30. But tomorrow the pressure gradient is even higher. We're talking 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, maybe over 50 miles an hour even across portions of central and southern Minnesota. And it's going to stay chilly here. This is 7-day temperature anomalies. Basically western Canada into the north central U.S. We're talking 10 to 20 degree below normal temperatures here for the next week and 20 to 30 degrees below normal across parts of North Dakota and Montana. We're just stuck in this same pattern where we are draining the cold out of Canada. Well, it's warm to our east and west, but the upper level pattern changes as we head in next week. An upper level ridge, this is warmth. Well, the West Coast finally gets in on the colder pattern, that trough pattern. Spring seemed promising to start. This is looking back at high temperatures since March 20th when we were above normal. Remember that? And then since we've mainly dropped below normal. So the blue line are actual high temperatures. The orange line is the average high, but I put on here the gray dashed lines. That's plus or minus 1 standard deviation, basically the normal range. We've been within the normal range, but definitely on the lower end of it pretty consistently, except for the beginning and then, of course, last weekend. We'll get there again, though. Falling temperatures through today, maybe a stray shower, but rain and snow showers tomorrow. And then we'll see cold conditions. 39 Friday, the normal high is in the upper 50s, so almost 20 degrees below the normal. And then heading into next week, temperatures still cold until the end of the week. We should be back towards normal or above.